is kind of it's supposed to be writing, so I'd get up in the morning really early and write, and then I'd go put on my campaign button and go knock on doors and pass out flyers.
Oh, I took a few too many days off. But usually what I like to do is get up, get the kids to school, come home and have my writing time. As soon as I check email, I maybe do a blog, maybe check a few blogs, and then I try to get to work and write until they get home. Maybe take a break to go to the gym in between, maybe not, depending on how the writing's going. That's, the process I prefer. And I try not to set a time to write. I try to make sure I just get 10 pages in a day.
Well, 10, that's a lot, though.
If I get 5, I'm happy.
Sometimes you're on a roll and 10 pages happen, I find. That sometimes you turn around and I've written 15 pages and I just started a minute ago, and then you look up at the clock and realize, no, I've been doing this for a while. And then other days, like getting through those 5 pages is so
hard.
Oh, it's so hard, and your characters don't want to do what you want them to do. Those darn characters. Before I wrote, I thought that was the silliest thing I ever heard. When people told me, I never know what my characters are going to do, or my characters revolt on me, or my characters surprise me. And I'm like, you're writing them, just make them do what you want to do. But then I think there's something we do have in common, is we both write character-driven fiction.
Character-driven,
So we decide who our people are. We know everything about them and what makes them tick. And then we write a story where, we basically mess with them and torture them and see how they react. And sometimes they just seem to want to do something entirely different, and that's just what you have to write. Do you find that
I
happens?
do. That's what happens with me as well. When I get a new story in mind, it'll be a character usually. I'll have a new character in mind, and then the story shapes around the character or a set of characters, and then it builds from there. And the characters are sometimes unpredictable.
So you do now? Do you plot?
I try to plot. I'm not very good at plotting. I still have a lot of plotting problems. Plotting is so hard for me. It's hard for me, sometimes I try to do a synopsis up front, but it's always so different than the end product that comes out that it just doesn't work out very well for me.
I'm now in the situation that I'm in now is now I write. I generally have a contract before I write the whole book, although I'm working on 2 books at once now because I'm insane. But one of them I don't have a buyer for. Generally, if you already have a contract, you are required to turn in a synopsis.
Exactly.
So they'll pay you.
Yes.
And so you're forced to at least have an idea of what the plot's going to be ahead of time.
Right.
But I have one friend who says she just writes whatever, and then the books have nothing to do with the synopsis she turned in order to get paid. I said,
nice.
Okay, that's
that
nice
works,
if they'll let you get away with it.
That's great, yeah. I don't know if they would let me get away with that.
No? Yeah. Okay. Can I get you to read an excerpt from your book for me today?
Okay.
This is from Naughty or Nice, which is on the shelves right now.
Out now.
And as you can see,
little holiday theme
there, a little Christmas going on. Sure.
Okay.
Charge it! Wilma Flintstone and Betty Rubble, the original Wives Gone Wild, had instilled the thrill in me at a very early age. Their solution? Charge it! With the exception of I love you, was there a nicer combination of words in the entire English language? My credit card poised at the ready, I debated between the black patent platform Louboutin pumps, cheaper but so last season, and the red Dolce & Gabbana ankle boots, too hot for words, with the price to match. What would Wilma do? When I was a kid, I used to get up early before everyone in the house and enjoy the company of my cartoon friends in the family den. My favorite, Wilma Flintstone, offered valuable insights to the way things should work for a modern Stone Age family. My family had been Stone Age, all right. We didn't even have cable. Didn't Wilma deserve her few indulgences after all? She put up with a lot being married to a caution to the wind type like Fred, and I'd put up with a lot too. A widow for almost a year. I knew what it was to suffer, and I deserved a few indulgences of my own. Only 6 weeks to Christmas, but as long as I made sure Santa brought my kids everything on their lists, I was free to spend. I looked at the boots, red-hot tops sticking out of lavender tissue wrap, and sighed. My role model, Wilma, was too practical to put her budget off balance so close to the holidays. Practical? I would only get as far as the first snowfall with the pumps before I had to stick them in the back of the closet for another 6 months or so. And honestly, who knew if they would still be stylish by the time designers introduced their spring lines? By contrast, I could get a good 5 months out of the Dolce & Gabbana boots and maybe a few months of the following autumn. Even though they were pricier up front, they would be a much better bargain in the end. Pleased with my decision, I left the pumps in the box under the Christmas tree adorning the table at the side of the shoe department chairs and headed for the register with the boots. My heart lifted to the strains of silver bells playing in the background. Wilma would be so proud. But Wilma wouldn't be the one helping me go over my expenses at the end of the month to make sure all my bills were paid. That honor would go to my sister, Kate. And Kate was no Wilma Flintstone. Not even close. Charge it was not a part of Kate's everyday vocabulary. The last time she indulged and bought herself a new pair of jeans, stonewashed had just been reintroduced to the market. Kate was uptight with a capital Up, especially after baby Eliana came along and gave her a real taste of the challenges facing single mothers. It was so much easier for Kate when she could tell me how to handle my kids without having to worry about caring for one of her own.
That's great. I love uptight with a capital Up.
Capital Up.
That's really cute.
Yes.
And see, we're back on the shopping thing here.
Back on the shopping. It starts out with the shopping for Betty.
And I love it that she's not going to upset her budget, and then she buys a pair of Dolce & Gabbana boots, which probably started about $1,200, I would imagine.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Well, she was always well taken care of when her husband was around. And after her husband passes away, she has to learn how to manage her money better, but she's having
which she is having a little bit of trouble with, yes. No, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really cute. It's a good book. And we won't give away who she decides on, the Greek god or the normal guy.
The normal god.
We won't.
Or the Greek god.
Yeah. It's such choices that we have to have. What are you working on now?
Now I'm working on the story of Ares. He's kind of next in my series.
Oh, so we had Hades and we had Hermes.
Right, and now we have the god of war, who does make a brief appearance in Naughty or Nice.
Have you seen this TV show Valentine?
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, there's a TV show about a bunch of Greek gods who are running a matchmaking agency.
Oh, I've heard about that one.
Yes. And it's run by Venus. And or Aphrodite, depending on she's the Greek name is Aphrodite, and her husband is Ares. She's married to Ares.
She's married,
but they don't. She wants a divorce, but apparently divorcing Ares could be fatal.
Oh.
So it's something you should
probably keep in mind.
You should take a look at it. You might get some ideas.
Yeah.
It should be fun. And if you went back to writing historicals, you said you had some historical ideas kind of running around in your head.
I have one that's kind of going. But I don't want to talk about it.
Okay,
right now,
but what era?
Oh, Regency. I love the Regency.
I love Regencies too, but I don't know how anyone writes a Regency because there's so much research involved in getting the details right. I actually have written a couple of historicals, but they were paranormal historicals with the emphasis on the paranormals. And so I wasn't, that particular publisher was not holding me up to standards of extreme historical accuracy.
That helps sometimes.
But with Regency, I know that if you get the details of a Regency novel wrong, you'll get hate mail.
The readers do. They are all over you.
Know everything that they have to, yeah.
There are unconventional people in every era. So, a lot of readers don't keep that in mind.
So you can write about the rebel, or you can write about the person that bucks convention a little bit. This is something that both you and I do, and we write popular fiction, and I do teach a lot of seminars and workshops, and people try to ask me to explain the difference between literary fiction and popular fiction. And I said, well, in literary fiction, you want people to notice your words.
Right.
And in popular fiction, you want people to not notice when the phone rings.
That's a good
That's
description.
a good definition. Well, now if people want to know more about you and your books and where you might be appearing and where you might be doing a book signing, they should go to your website.
Yes.
And that is?
www.sherrybrowningirwin.com.
Okay.
Quite the mouthful.
All right, we'll be sure to do that, and I hope we'll be hearing great things from you in the future.
Thank you.
Okay, and it's been a pleasure having you here today.
It's been nice to talk to you, Toni. Thanks for having me.
Okay, thanks for coming, and thanks for being coming to see so many books today.